Hardtack and broth. Again. This sauce has got weevils in it. Lucky bastard.
Whilst writing my book, The Jenny's Revenge, in which women, their lives utterly destroyed by pirates, have formed a crew to sail the Caribbean, hunting any who fly the black flag of piracy, I thought to myself, what did they eat back then? That might seem like a silly question, but bear in mind the average cruising speed of a ship in 1650 was around about 7 knots, which is a smidgen faster than you and I can run at. And they had no fridges to keep their provisions cool and fresh, so everything had to be stored in barrels. That meant the provisions either had to be dry, like wheat and flour, or salted, like pork and beef. A stable part of a sailor or pirate's diet was hardtack. This was a kind of biscuit or cracker, which was made from flour and water, seasoned with salt. It was then baked over and over until it was rock hard. That meant, as long as it stayed dry, hardtack could last you an entire journey. Now, something with the density of a star is a little bit hard on the teeth, so what they used to do is dunk it in their water or broth to soften it up. Unfortunately, as the trip went on, it became more and more likely that you would find weevils in your hardtack. Weevils are a kind of little insect that loves to get into grain and seed and lay its eggs, which then hatch in whatever is made out of those things. Now, what seems gross to you and I was actually a source of protein for the ancient mariner. So the rumour goes, what they used to do was take the hardtack, tap it against the table to get as many weevils as possible out of it, and then whatever was left they just used to eat. Now the meat, like I said, was mostly beef and pork, which was stored in caskets filled with salt and brine. This method of storage worked a treat, as long as the caskets remained sealed from the elements and rats, which were a common problem back in the day. The meat wouldn't spoil, though even if it did, they still tended to serve it. But there were other problems. There always are. You see, over time, the meat would absorb the brine, which would make it swell up and then shrink when it was cooked. Now, to get around this, some ships actually just served the meat raw. The second problem was it tended to absorb all the salt as well, which, other than the usual symptoms of a highly salted diet, was responsible for the onset of scurvy. So, amongst the weevils and the incredibly salty diet, it's no wonder that ancient mariners used to drink so much rum. But that is a story for another day. So, the next time you sit down to your scran and you're thinking to yourself, this isn't much good, thank you lucky stars, it's not hardtack and broth. Savvy?